Hey everybody, it's Nick here with you. Welcome back to the Rock Squad channel and welcome to the rock album review for the debut album from Mammoth WVH. Mammoth WVH is the new solo project from Wolfgang Van Halen, the son of the late great Eddie Van Halen and Valerie Bertinelli, of course, the son of the late great Eddie Van Halen. He played with Van Halen a lot over the years. He played bass for the band as well as I think other acts like Tremonti and some other acts as well. But this is his big statement. His debut solo record is Mammoth WVH. He recorded all the instruments on this album by himself, I believe, from the drums, the bass, guitar, vocals. He pulled a regular Dave Grohl on this thing, and this is probably been one of my most anticipated rock records of 2021 so far. I've been really looking forward to this. I've really enjoyed the songs. I think, the 4 or 5 songs that we've heard before the release of this record. So I was very much anticipating this new album from Mammoth WVH. Not that it has really anything to do with Wolf, but I wouldn't say I'm a gigantic Van Halen fan. I've enjoyed a lot of their songs over the years. I've dug in a little bit to the Van Halen discography. I'm not a diehard Van Halen fan by any means, but I do enjoy their music. Again, not that has anything to do with Wolf, because Mammoth WVH is very different than Van Halen. But I just wanted to give a little bit of background of like my history and my kind of listening experience with the Van Halen clan. But like I said, I was really looking forward to the release of this record, and I'm happy to say this thing delivers big time in the rock department. All right, so what I do with these rock album reviews is I take the songs from the record and I put them into 2 columns, the plus column and the minus column. The plus column obviously being the ones that I really, really enjoyed, and the minus column being the songs that were still decent, but maybe just didn't really stick out to me on first listen. I tend to just go with the vibe when I'm listening to records on the rock album review. So that's how we do it. So without further ado, let's get to Mammoth WVH. This thing kicks ass. All right, so the first song we're going to put in the plus column is Mr. Ed. I have maybe a feeling this has something to do with his father, maybe a tribute to the late great Eddie Van Halen right out of the gate with big rock. That is what we're going for on this record. Big riffs, big drums, big vocals. I love Wolfgang Van Halen's voice, Wolfie's voice, if I can call him that. I know that's what his mother calls him. I love Wolf's voice. He's got a great melodic voice. He has an edge to it as well, but he's got such an enjoyable voice to listen to. There's great harmonies on this song. He's got a soaring chorus into a killer riff, and that's a continuing theme over the course of the Mammoth WVH record, is that there are these big, huge soaring choruses and these big giant riffs as well, big drums. It's all happening right on this first song, Mr. Ed, and then he goes into an awesome solo. So it just goes to show you that even though he can play every instrument, that he has picked a thing or two up from his dad over the years. So he knows how to rock a solo, and if this is a tribute to Eddie Van Halen, then I think it's very fitting. So in the plus column is Mr. Ed. Then going into the plus column is Horribly Right. Another heavy riff right off the bat. There are so many riffs, so many beautiful, buttery, sweet riffs to enjoy on this record. This song had a kind of like an STP, a Stone Temple Pilots core kind of vibe to it that I enjoyed. Another huge, catchy chorus. I love the heavy pounding drums on this song. He knows how to rock a kit as well as anything else on this record. And then he stretches his voice a little bit. Wolf stretches his voice a little bit towards the end of the song as well, showing that he's got this huge range. He's got this really easy voice to listen to, like I said, very appealing, super melodic, and he has a great edge on it as well when he wants to. So going into the plus column is Horribly Right. Next song in the plus column is probably my favorite song from the record. It's called Epiphany. It kicks off with this really fat bass tone. Another thing about this record, it sounds great. The production is great. Everything just sounds really super crisp, really super clear, super fat. The drums on it are great as well. I love the pop and the punch of this record. It's got a lot of really great sounds on it. And I like that a song like this and a lot of other really great songs on this record were held back. Even though we did get a large amount of singles released before this record, there was still a lot of new stuff to enjoy. So I really like that. Had this Van Halen-esque guitar on the verses, which was really cool. A great melodic breakdown with a great vocal from Wolf, and some killer falsetto vocals on this song as well. So I think my favorite song on the record was Epiphany. Then we get to a song called Don't Back Down. This is one of the singles that was released before the record came out. Just a huge punishing riff on this one. Like I said, there are so many riffs to enjoy on this. It kicks a lot of ass on this song. The first part of the album so far, when you get in the first 3 or 4 tracks, it doesn't really let up. It just keeps going. And I love the bouncy drums on the verses of this song. Very anthemic, huge vocals from Wolf on the chorus, some pretty high notes that he's hitting on this album as well. Huge rock out in the middle on this one. Just loving every riff and every drum fill that I'm hearing on this record from front to back. I know your mileage may vary on how many riffs and how many huge drum parts that you want to hear on a given record, but I hadn't tired out by this point. So going in the plus column is Don't Back Down. Then things take a little bit of a dip, not really a huge dip, but a little bit of a break from the punishing guitar riffs that we've gotten on the first bunch of tracks on this song called Resolve. It had these great layered guitars at the beginning. As I was saying on some of these other songs, the production on this record is great, and you really hear all the crisp notes. You can hear the quality of the instruments. There's not a huge riff on this song like on the first 4 tracks that we heard, but that's okay because Wolf is doing some different things. He's hitting some falsetto notes that are really cool. It's got a pre-chorus melody that is awesome. It's got a great solo as well. So we know that he's still continuing his tribute to his late great dad. And some of the best guitar parts or some of the best guitar sounds are on this song. So I really enjoyed Resolve, and it's going in the plus column. Then we get to one of the love songs on the record, You'll Be the One. This comes out of the gate with a little bit more of a danceable beat, reminding me of some of the new Royal Blood stuff that we heard on Typhoon. It's got a danceable beat that you can shake your butt to. Has a killer guitar solo on this one. The song didn't blow me away, but I did find it to be really enjoyable. I like the song a lot. So going in the plus column is You'll Be the One. Also going in the plus column is one of the singles that we heard before the record came out, Mammoth, the title track on the record. Love the tappy pulsing guitar at the beginning. It definitely has a Van Halen influence on there. One of my favorite songs before the record actually came out was this one. It's definitely been in my playlist for a little bit. There is this positive lyrical content on this song, which I really enjoyed as well. Anything is possible. You're not the only one. Mammoth WVH Wolf, is he's singing out to us, man. He's giving us these positive vibes. That's something that I really enjoyed throughout the majority of this record, is that it has this uplifting anthemic feel that made me feel good. And not every rock record has to do that, especially not every heavy rock record. It doesn't have to be positive. A lot of heavy music isn't, but this album made me feel good. It made me feel like, getting it out, cranking it up in the car in the sunshine and just cruising around enjoying it, which I might do after I finish this review. I'll do the editing and uploading. I'll definitely get out and be listening to it in the car tonight. But this is one of my favorite uplifting songs from the record, and it still kicks a lot of ass. So going in the plus column is Mammoth. And then we get to a song called Think It Over. I suppose this would be one of the more ballad-esque songs on the album. Even if you have a big rock record, you still have to have a couple of songs that people can dance to or play at weddings or something like that, I guess. I wouldn't say this is a ballad, even if you can call it that. I guess it would have that kind of vibe, but I love the lead guitar on this one. It felt very bright. Like I was saying, very positive. It's a good love song. Might be the soundtrack to some young lovebirds who are falling in love this summer. Like I said, you got to have every vibe on this record. It's a big rock record, but you still have to have some love songs on there as well. So going into the plus column is Think It Over. Then we get to one of my favorite songs on the record, and probably my favorite of the songs that we heard before the record came out, and that's You're to Blame. This is one of my favorite songs of the year so far. I've had this song cranking up for months now in my 2021 playlist. It kind of encapsulates the sound of the entire album, the big, huge rock, the anthemic rock vibe coursing throughout this Mammoth WVH record. It's a stellar single. It's a stellar track on the album. The thing is, I'm surprised to see that it's so late in the track list. This is track number 11 that this song kicks in, and this was, I think, other than Distance, was the first big single that Wolf released from this record. So it's surprising to see it coming in at number 11, but I guess that just goes to show you the strong quality of the majority of the songs on this record. That a big single, You're to Blame, a great rock single, could be pushed down to number 11. So that just goes to show you the quality of the rest of the songs on display here. So going in the plus column is You're to Blame. And then we have a couple more songs in the plus column. Stone, this one was a little bit spacier, had some big pulsing drums, had some piano, almost a perfect circle-ish vibe to it. I felt like Wolf was channeling his inner Maynard James Keenan on this song. So it started off as a really soft track, and then it kicked in, and it was very compelling all the way through. At 6 minutes and 33 seconds, it might be the perfect epic centerpiece of the album. That's how it felt to me, that it felt like this was kind of more the artsy fartsy. I don't want to say artsy fartsy, but one of the more psychedelic, kind of ethereal songs on the record. So I really enjoyed that, and I really like this one. And then the last one going in the plus column for me would be Distance, the song that Wolf wrote for his late great father, Eddie Van Halen. You know, they started the record out with Mr. Ed, and then ended it with Distance. So I imagine that's a good way to bookend an album as a tribute to his father. And this song itself is a really touching tribute, and it's the song that introduced, you know, Wolf's solo career and Mammoth WVH to the world. And he's got such a great voice. I said this before, I've said it throughout this entire review, that he's got such a great melodic voice. It's so awesome to listen to as a listener, and also as a singer myself. I really appreciate what he's done on this record vocal wise. He sounds great. It's an emotional song. It's a great way to end the album. And I don't have a physical copy of the album myself, but I saw online, I think it was on Wolf's Twitter account, that he was showing a picture of the CD, or maybe on Instagram. He was showing a picture of the CD, and there is a little bit of a tribute to his dad inside the cover. So I thought that was really cool. So the last song going in the plus column was Distance. All right, so there are a couple of songs in the minus column. These songs were okay. They just didn't jump out to me. Circles was a good down-tempo number. It was nice for the album to take a little bit of a dip and do some different things and show the dynamics that Wolf is trying to display on this record. It's just the melody itself didn't really jump out to me, but it's a solid mid-album track, and it's nice to see that not every song on this record has to have a huge riff. The big picture, I dug the riff on this one, but it didn't really do much for me. It did feel a little bit like filler, but you have to remember that there are 14 tracks on this album. So that's fairly long for, you know, a modern rock record. This is track 9 for a 14 song album. So that's to be expected, that not every song is going to completely hit it out of the park, because that's just not the way it goes. But that's okay, because the first chunk of this album is so solid, and this one had a little bit of an Alice in Chains vibe that I dug as well. And then another song that's going to go into the minus column for me is called Feel, which was probably my least favorite of the singles that we heard before Mammoth WVH came out, the full record. The chorus is just really weak, in my opinion, just repeating the same thing over and over again. It's a long way, another day, it's on the way. And really, this is the only case of that happening on this record, because everything else, I feel like the songwriting is really top notch and is really amazing. And you can tell the amount of effort that went into making this thing happen. So this is really the only song that I didn't really enjoy in that regard. But there's a decent rock out in the middle, so at least I'll give it that. So those are the songs going in the minus column. So that is my take on the new album from Wolfgang Van Halen, Mammoth WVH. Overall, I really enjoyed this thing. It's an hour-long listen. It's a little bit of a long listen, but it's super enjoyable all the way through. He performed all the instruments himself. He's an incredibly talented singer, performer, songwriter, and it's very much on display here. And I feel like he's going to take the mantle from his dad, and he's going to be a huge force in rock music in the future going forward. So I think Wolfgang Van Halen has a very bright future. And, you know, this album is just the kind of rock that I like. I like every kind of rock, but this is hitting me in all the right areas, you know, the punchy, hard-hitting performances. It's not like Van Halen. There are some Van Halen influences there, but he's very much carving out his own sound. It's very much influenced by 90s alt rock, you know, modern hard rock. There's a lot of that going on. Like I said, there's great production on this as well. Every instrument sounds great. It sounds crisp. It comes through in the mix, and it sounds fantastic. So this is definitely one of my favorite rock albums of the year so far. I think a way that I gauge albums that I really like, especially when I'm doing these rock album reviews, is that I'll listen on Spotify. And as I listen to the album, when the songs jump out to me, you know, the songs that go in the plus column, when they jump out to me, I'll put them into a 2021 playlist or a separate playlist that I have to just keep tracks keep track of tracks that I really like. And I was doing that a lot with this album. I would say, oh, that's a good one. Putting it into the 2021 the 2021 playlist for listening for later. So there was definitely a lot of that happening. If I had any criticisms of this record, I would say that it can sound a little bit samey. As I was saying earlier, depending on your mileage of listening to a lot of hard rock, it could sound a little bit samey. It's a little bit of a longer listen, coming in at 14 tracks in around an hour. So it can be a little bit samey. I've said that in other reviews, but samey is all a matter of perspective and how much you enjoy a given band. And so I enjoyed this record quite a bit. So it didn't really sound all that similar to me. I just really enjoyed all the songs that I was listening to as it went on. So I'm going to give the new album from Wolfgang Van Halen, Mammoth WVH, a solid 4 out of 5. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for our review for Mammoth WVH. Let me know what you thought of this album in the comments. I'd love to know what you thought of the debut solo record from Wolfgang Van Halen. I know I enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did too. Make sure to like this video. We would appreciate that, to subscribe to this channel here on Rock Squad, and to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Me and my co-host Dave Marini are doing a Rock Squad podcast every week here on YouTube and on your favorite podcasting app, where we run down a week's worth of rock music news and stories. If you want to keep up with everything going on in the world of rock music, we're doing it on the Rock Squad podcast. This week we talked about maybe Aerosmith never touring again. We talked about a Beach Boys box set, Foo Fighters playing Madison Square Garden for the first time in 500 days, and a lot more. So if you want to kind of get into the conversation and talk about rock music news every week, you can do it here on the channel for the Rock Squad podcast. And Dave and I also play in a band ourselves. We're called Fools Union. You can check us out on every streaming service, and you can check us out at foolsunion.com. So we'll see you guys again for another rock album review. Rock on.